Tuesday morning. It is July the 12th. Can you believe we're already almost halfway through the month? I'm First Warning meteorologist Eric Burris. This is Coffee Talk. We get together 7 days a week, chat about what's going on in the world of weather, hopefully get your day started off on the right note and updated with what's going on weather-wise. Top two things we are watching. Building heat in Central Florida. Temperatures today are going to be warmer. We'll take you county by county through that. And of course, we are tracking the tropics. Had an update for you at 6 a.m. Watching this bubble up of moisture in the Gulf of Mexico. It's not a lot, but it might just be enough to have our attention this week. Yeah, we'll talk all about it. But before we get into all that, let's just take a moment of zen and look outside. It is stunning. This is a shot from Cocoa. We're looking over to Merritt Island. We're looking over toward the port. And it is beautiful. The sun is shining down. Had some good soaking rains in this area yesterday, providing that muggy morning that we're enjoying this morning. Upper 70s, lower 80s out the door. Our first warning, live Doppler radar. Rain-free for just about all of us, but I do want to take you over toward the Nature Coast where we are watching some pockets of rain out around Crystal River and Sugar Mill Woods, Cedar Key. Denellen, if you live, especially on the west side of town, may see this kind of marching in your direction here over the next couple of hours' time. But much like yesterday, much like the day before, much like the day before, it's a bit of an earlier start to the rain. And of course, the earlier start means the earlier finish. Although today we're starting to not only transition back to a normal timing, but we're also kind of dialing down that rain chance just a little bit. 11 o'clock, 10% coverage of a few spotty showers out in our westernmost areas. 88 degrees our temperature. Notice rain coverage today only makes it to about 30-40%. It's going to be a hot one, though, because of that. 95 degrees our high temperature forecast. Average high this time of year sits at 92. So it's going to be a hot one. Yeah. Jessica says, can we zen without the heat today, please? If I could, I would. X-nay on the heat day. But here we are. I cannot. I was talking to somebody at the station just yesterday. If I had control over the weather, they're like, what? Wouldn't it be neat if you could have control? You know, small talk with the meteorologist, right? Wouldn't it be neat if you could have control over the weather? Let me tell you something. If I had control over the weather, do you think I'd be working at WESH too, or would I be the all-powerful, you know, like Mr. Oz, controlling? Probably doing that. Jessica, I don't want to participate in summer this year, but yet here we are together, right? Frank says, so I'm making the drive to, and I get to drive home in the rain. Well, we'll look at Futurecast, Frank, because it may not be too bad for you. Pat says, Darby in the Pacific looks cool. Yeah, talk about crazy. That is a major hurricane in the Pacific Basin. Thankfully not a threat, certainly to us, but it is something. Yeah, Janice, wouldn't that be something? All right, so let's talk about temperatures. Before we get to the rainfall forecast today, let's talk about the heat. We're at the highest average high we get, 92 degrees. We're going to best that by a few notches in Orlando. 95 in the city, 94 today in Kissimmee. Would I be surprised if we see a neighborhood or two get to 96, 97? No. It just depends, you know, a fewer clouds, double negative. Some fewer clouds, more sunshine, and you'd get a little hotter. But this is kind of the best of all forecast that we've come up with. Winds out of the southwest running 10-15. It's going to almost feel like a convection oven. You know, that southwest wind is the problem. That's a land breeze for us. It comes in from the Gulf of Mexico, keeps like the Bay Area a little more comfortable, keeps the Sun Coast a little more comfortable. But as it moves through Hillsborough to Polk and Sumter to Lake and Orange, it heats up over land. And that's why even our East Coast beaches get hot before that sea breeze sneaks in. Of course, we're running current temperature and forecast high temperature on the bottom of the screen as we do every single day. In terms of the rainfall, let's talk about it with Futurecast. Okay, so here's 12 o'clock, a few spotty showers in our western areas. Notice, though, 2, 3, 4 o'clock, there are spotty showers, but we're not talking about massive rains. We're not talking about a big coverage. You can see, though, the metro back over to the beaches, there is a little bit of rain to track. Everything does eventually pile up on our east coast, but we're not talking about a bunch. Now, let me just go back here just a bit. So that was 8:30. Again, Futurecast is showing through 10 o'clock a bit of a sea breeze collision late. This is consistent with what we were seeing yesterday. So don't be surprised if the overall coverage today is low, but into early tonight, as in 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, we get a few resurging storms. Don't be surprised. So parents, that means for kids, Futurecast is showing some rains around 9, 10 o'clock. Plan the bedtimes accordingly, right? And then eventually that all tapers off. But even by midnight, Futurecast is showing some rainfall. All right, let's look at tomorrow, because tomorrow is a bit of a pattern change. Okay, let's look. 9, 10 o'clock, we're quiet. By noon, some rains out west. But notice 2, 3, 4 o'clock. That coverage, by far and away, is more active than today. So today's focus is going to be the heat. Tomorrow, into the weekend, the focus transitions back to rain chances across central Florida. What in the deuce is going on? Why are we talking about building heat and then building rain? This isn't your typical summertime pattern, right? Let's talk about it. All right, there's a front north of us. Today it kind of pulls away some of the moisture. By tomorrow, though, it's far enough away that we get back into your normal summer's pattern. And then late week, we actually start to watch moisture bubbling up in the Gulf of Mexico. And this is where things get interesting. All right, that's Friday's surface map. Area of low pressure off the panhandle of Florida in the Gulf of Mexico. Yeah, that's going to moisten us up. Rain chances Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday are going up. So if you're heading to the attractions, if you're wanting to take the boat out, keep that in mind. But could there be something tropical brewing? Could be. This is going to be one of those nowcasting type things, because there's going to be low pressure. But is it over land, or is it just off the shoreline? There are many questions, right? Many questions that are going to play into this. And that's where we have to figure that out. That's the threading the needle. Does this have the opportunity to develop tropically? We'll have to wait and see. Kathy, good morning. Kenneth, good morning to you. Hope you're doing well. Jeannie, good morning to you. Hope you're doing great today. Kenneth, let's see here. The numbers prove the numbers mean nothing. I suppose so. Oh, Annie, I want to go to there. Hollywood Beach mini vacation. Just want to go to the beach. Well, Hollywood Beach isn't in Central Florida, but if you're going to a Central Florida beach, know that by afternoon, those showers and storms are piling up in your area. But again, the rain coverage is not massive. We're not talking about a big coverage. It's 40%. So today, you can handle that. But what about the rain chances late week? We talked about those kind of rain conditions trending up. Let's look here over the next couple of days. So today, we're kind of playing level at 40%, but notice 50, 60% Thursday, Friday, and into the weekend, because of that area of moisture out in the Gulf of Mexico. So let's talk about it. And I know that that's definitely a big area of curiosity for everyone. Did just get the update from the National Hurricane Center. Right now, there is lowering pressure out over the Gulf of Mexico. It does not want to develop into anything for right now, okay? That's the tropical satellite. Here's the kind of regular satellite. And if you look closely, you absolutely can make out that counterclockwise spin, right? Do you see it right in there? You can absolutely make out a counterclockwise spin. It doesn't, I will point out that as of the 0Z model runs, there was nothing impressive here. I haven't looked at the 6Z runs. We'll look at them together. But, a homegrown tropical system, something so close to home with very little opportunity for development, those are the sneaky ones. Those are the ones that could get tagged, named, and become, nasty weather pretty quickly. They could also just do nothing and provide some scattered showers and nothing more. Now, the official forecast from the Weather Prediction Center calls for massive rains to the Gulf Coast, like a foot in spots. That said, does it produce that much? There's not a foot worth of rain falling right now. You could see a lot of that energy is kind of off the coastline for right now. So, it's definitely a feature we will be watching. But as it kind of consolidates off of our west coast, it starves us of our moisture today just a little bit. Hurricane Center does have it tagged. They are holding firm on their numbers, which I think are pretty good. 10% chance over the next 2 days' time for tropical development. 30% chance over the next 5 days' time for tropical development. Low development chance. Still there, still something, but a low development chance. So, it's something to watch. It's nothing to be concerned about, though, okay? And that's the good news. Chris says, good thing the Panhandle isn't prone to landslides. Well, yeah. Tammy asking about beach erosion. Anytime you get a storm system that's developing, there absolutely is the concern for beach erosion, rough surf, even rip currents. And remember, too, the Panhandle, the Gulf Coast, they don't usually have big, massive waves, right? So there's going to be some impact. And if there's one thing that I hope that you learn, it's that you don't need a massive storm system to get impacts. You don't need a massive storm. You don't need a named storm system to have impacts. Every storm system, every weather pattern is different. And so that's why weather's such a big deal. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a meteorologist and it's my career. It just is. Now, one thing that I always like to check is the water temperatures. Yes, the water temperatures, not only are they above average, they are well above average. But remember, that's not the only metric that we can use to track tropical cyclone genesis, to track tropical systems developing. Because if that was the case, we would have had 50 named storms already, right? Because water temperatures are not just above average, but frankly, they're well above average. But we haven't had 50 named storms. As a matter of fact, wrong graphic. As a matter of fact, we've had 3. And of those 3, they were all awful weak. They were, if we look at the ACE, and I pointed this out this morning on our 6 a.m. update, but we've developed 2.8 ACE points for the year. And that's an accumulation of cyclonic energy, length of a storm, size, strength of a storm. Okay, this is kind of, think of this as like your real miles per gallon versus what the estimated miles per gallon are, right? So 2.8 ACE points. The 30-year average through, it's technically yesterday, I haven't updated it, but roughly today, the 30-year average is 5.2. We're almost half as active as the 30-year average in terms of season, right? 8 and 8 is 16, 2 and 2 is 4, so it would be, it'd be 5.6 is double what we are. So we are almost half of an active, or half of a 30-year average season. So we've not seen tropical system development like crazy this year. We've not even kept up with the average, but yet we have warm water temperatures. So remember, there are many metrics that come into play when it comes to tropical development. Saharan dust, wind shear, all these different things, right? Okay, so that said, 30% chance of development. What are the models showing? Let's get right over. This is the 6Z. And for those of you that were watching yesterday, you know this. This does look like it is the repeat of the Florester. All right, so we keyed in on that yesterday. I was texting back and forth with Jeremy Nelson and Gary Lezak. Of course, Jeremy and I co-author our hurricane forecasts together on March 1st every year. And Lezak, we're not all going bonkers on this developing because it's like riding right along the shoreline. Thankfully, it doesn't look like it's wanting to be a massive system. But there's going to, we think, be some form of an area of low pressure. It's already there, right? And it's just going to kind of bubble and then eventually work on it. Okay? All right, so 6Z model. Let's bring this full screen. If you want to see the 0Z, just look at our 6 a.m. Facebook Live update. 6Z. So this is Tuesday. Going through. Not really showing much. There's Thursday. Trying to show lowering pressure, but not keying in on anything. Saturday, Sunday. Not really keying in on anything. Really not keying in on anything. Yeah. So, and that's the GFS. Yeah. So the GFS not showing anything. Let's switch over to the European. Now, the European is still running, so I'm not going to be able to give you a ton of data. Now, one thing that strikes me just by looking, okay, and we talk a lot about this, Remember, garbage in, garbage out, right? So this is the satellite and radar right now. Let's just take a mental picture. Look off the coastline of Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama. You can see there's moisture there. There's already low pressure developing, okay? The European is showing that, and the GFS is showing that, okay? So they've both initialized properly. Just wanted to check on that, because if they don't see it, then you're not going to see anything else. All right, so let's roll through. So it's showing that little piece of energy kind of fading. Yeah, and that's as far, it goes out to 69 hours, the European 60. It hasn't run out to 90 yet because it's running as we speak. So so there's that. Let's look at the ensembles together, okay? Let me roll back. The ensembles, think of this as like Baskin Robbins. You're getting your 51 flavors. There's 51 members to an ensemble forecast. It's one graphic that looks at the GFS, but 50 different versions of it. If you put 50 clones in a room, they'd all come at you with slightly different things. So that's the idea, all right? So let's roll through here and see if we see anything. Broad low pressure, but nothing decent. There's Thursday. There's Friday. Nothing of note. Saturday, if you notice there, Saturday, it's trying to show something of an area of interest in the panhandle, but nothing deep. So that's perfect. That's fine. And after that, yeah, nothing crazy. Let's look over at the European ensembles. Now, the ensemble hasn't come in for 6Z, so this is the 0Z, but we've not looked at it together, so let's look at it together. You can see kind of a little area of low pressure, Texas, Louisiana, a little area of low pressure, Mississippi, Alabama. You can kind of see here, this is Saturday, Sunday. It's trying to bubble up. You see those little lows that are developing from Texas all the way back over to the Florida Panhandle? That is the European ensemble showing members trying to develop areas of low pressure. And if we switch over, you can kind of see there's the actual lows off the different members. So you see there's not a lot, but out of 51, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. There's 5 members that are trying to develop low pressure. All right, so something. And then that's it. So model support is not huge, okay? There's definitely something there. But weak tropical systems are not handled well with models. Never have been, probably never will be in our lifetime, maybe eventually. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Models are not going to be a great resource. Half of this is just going to be sitting and watching the satellite and radar, which is what we do, all right? So, yeah, we'll continue to watch this for sure. The rest of the Atlantic, I'm happy to say, is quiet. Love that. Very okay with that. Keep the ugly weather away from us. Just some daily rain. I'm trying, man. I am trying. Jessica, did you get your geek on checking out the new photo release from the Webb telescope? I'm excited for today's releases. Oh, yeah. I posted on Twitter. If you're not familiar, the James Webb Space Telescope is the replacement of the Hubble. If you remember, the Hubble Space Telescope changed such theory in terms of space. It opened our minds to what was out there, right? Let me pull this up while we're talking. So I'm just pulling up my Twitter page here because I want to show you a tweet. All right. So this is... So anyway, if you remember Hubble, they had to go up and fix it with the shuttle. It was a whole thing, but it was a big deal. All right, this I just retweeted this because I thought that this was interesting. Let me line this up so you can see. This is a GIF comparing an image from Hubble to James Webb. Look at the difference. There are, first off, the detail is infinitely deeper. The detail is incredible. You can see so much more. This is just the first image, okay? But this is kind of a side-by-side from what Hubble got versus what the James Webb Space Telescope got. The president made a big presentation yesterday. I didn't get a chance to watch it, but this is the first image from it, okay? Now, we're getting like 5 more images today. It's funny, I joked with people at the station. I was like, well, if the president's showing it, then surely he's telling us that it found aliens, right? I just thought it was, interesting that the president was showing an image from the space telescope. No aliens, as it turned out. I was disappointed. I wasn't really disappointed, but anyway, you get the idea. I mean, there's a dramatic difference in resolution, and when you think about this is deeper than we've ever seen. This is going to be that next leap forward in our understanding, which is probably going to freak a lot of people out. When you start thinking about how minute we are in terms of the vastness of space, like those aren't stars that you're looking at. Those are galaxies. What? Like, we're in the Milky Way galaxy. How many planets are, so when you look at every one of those or galaxies, it's like, surely there's got to be some other schmo doing a coffee talk somewhere else talking to a group of weather nerds too, right? Like maybe he's got tentacles or his color's a little off, but we can't be the only one. What did Jodie Foster say? Do you remember that line in Contact? It'd be an awful waste of space. I don't know exactly the line, but wow. Frank says that was the furthest shuttle mission ever. You're right. You're absolutely right. Yes, sir. Every now and then your first son throws out knowledge and it's like, oh, he's not the idiot. He is a wealth of trivia, is what it is. I know you're not the idiot. I'm just kidding. Taylor says there's no way we're the only planet able to sustain life in the entire universe. We're only one tiny blip. Well, and it does, I said that that's got to freak people out because to some extent, like, it does freak me out to see this picture and realize that those are galaxies. And it's just like, we haven't even scratched the surface. We haven't even gotten close to scratching the surface. All we're seeing is blobs of light from, light millennia away. Samantha says, oh my God, remember that terrifying movie Mars Attacks with those big headed aliens? Yeah, right. They have comedy shows on the Earthlings, and they probably bring a few of us back. Like, look at this Earthling, and you got some scared person who was abducted in the middle of the night. Chris says, the other schmo can control the weather. That's called bookending a joke. I like it. War of the Worlds scared me as a kid. Anyway, I just thought that was fascinating. I just thought that was a fascinating GIF image. I saw somebody post, and I'm like, well, I've got to steal that. It's incredible. Jessica says, time for the tinfoil hats, and have your cups of water ready to go. Or speaking in galaxies, remember at the end of Men in Black, our whole galaxy is in someone's locker. Exactly. Yeah, well, yeah, there's that. Yeah, just have they stopped making Twinkies for a while. But I think they're making them again. Right? The universe is a pretty big place, so if it's just us, it's a pretty big waste of space. Jodie Foster's character in Contact. Leave it to Kenneth to be second to none in the wealth of information department. Thank you. And yeah, maybe Google too, but either way, that's the quote. That's the quote. So anyway, yeah, a little terrifying when you think about it. I try not to think too much about it. But yeah, this looks like it's wanting to be the Floor Easter. We were looking yesterday on Coffee Talk, the 500s line up. So this weekend, if it does, probably this weekend you're going to see an area of low pressure in the Gulf. Models aren't supporting it. I'm not going to say it's going to be a massive thing, but that's the Floor Easter part of the pattern. So there's going to be something developing out there. Whether or not it develops too much, remains to be seen, but we'll watch it. And the good news is that once the Floor Easter part of the pattern is done, I get to go to my weather conference and not worry next week, not worry about having to get a call back. And then after that, we look to August. And what does August have in store? August is relatively quiet for us at the beginning, though I did add in light text, watching Florida around August 8th, 9th. If you remember, potential tropical cyclone 1/Alex was in the area. Now it developed when by the time that it exited Florida, but that will recycle around August 8th or 9th. So we've added that. You can see it's a little more transparent. It's not a big feature, but I did add that. And then toward the end of August, moreover, that's a time frame where really there's a bug in this software. That's annoying when it does that. Toward the end of August, that's when we're going to be watching Florida once again. And the Mid-Atlantic. That's going to be, I'll tell you right now, that's going to be your busy stretch of hurricane season. Well, climatology says it's always a busy stretch in August. Sure. But that week in particular, because that's when you've got kind of two little features. All right. So that's what we're looking at. Any questions, comments, concerns? Google knows everything, Kenneth says. Yep, indeed. Indeed, indeed. I see that light text. Good move. Yeah, you like that? You like that? So after giving everyone a mini panic attack about the size of space, anyway, here's the Florista. Exactly, Samantha. You get everybody scared, and then you dial it back. It's like I learned in a... it wasn't a management class. It was like a teaching class. It was the positive reinforcement sandwich. You ever hear that term? The positive reinforcement sandwich. You're doing a great job. I think we could probably work a little more on X, Y, Z. But know this. I think you're doing fantastic. Now, it's cheesy, but the positive reinforcement sandwich. Enjoy your conference. Thank you, Sharon. I do look forward to expanding my brain. And we will have coffee talk from the conference. What time are my first sessions? Let me look. So my first session on Tuesday morning starts at 9:30. Yeah, so we'll do coffee talk. I think my hotel is the same hotel that the conference is in, I hope. I need to figure that out, I suppose. Yeah. Navigating KML and Max. Love that. It's just a lot of nerd stuff. Once heard 5 compliments for 1 complaint. That's the way it goes, right? That's the way it goes. So that's the big feature we're watching. Pulls moisture away from us for today, but it does build up that heat. So if you're looking for things to do, I highly suggest finding activities that keep you cool. Today, heading out to Typhoon Lagoon. We were just reminiscing about going when I was like 10 years old. Showers, a few thunder showers around perhaps, but it's going to be a hot one. 95. Apply, reapply the sunscreen if you're heading out to the beaches. Same kind of idea. Muggy meter this morning. Doesn't take a meteorologist to tell you it feels gross outside. Technically, we're in the steamy category of the muggy meter. All right? 7-day forecast. Shall we chat about the rising rain chances? For today, we are at 40% coverage of showers and storms. Next couple of days, though, that rain chance goes up 50, 60%, and it sits there through about Saturday as that Florista weather feature kind of moves through the area. We'll have to see how it plays out. Development or not, I think that late this week, as it kind of works toward Florida, model support isn't there, but we're just kind of rolling off the LRC knowledge that we have. It will increase our rain chances a little bit. Okay? Any questions, comments, concerns? Are you terrified about the vastness of space like I am? Sharon says, excellent idea, Typhoon. Oh, yeah. Steamy is a gross category. It's true. Yeah. Becca says, another hot car death. Oh, my God. Really? Please do not leave pets or children in your car. Drink water and put on sunscreen. That's terrible. Senseless. It's just sad. So I need to know, from Friday to Monday, will we have any sunny time at the pool, or is it all rain? Even a few hours, which day? Samantha, I would say late morning, you'd be good. Morning hours. But late morning into the early afternoon, that's where we start to change things around. Taylor says, I think it's oddly comforting. Yeah, the vastness of space. I think it's... I think it's... I think at surface it's a little scary. But let me explain, Taylor, because for me, anything that I'm afraid of, I have to dive in to learn. I learned to fly airplanes because I was afraid of them. I learned to scuba dive because I was afraid of water. I learned and developed a career about weather because I was afraid of our daily thunderstorms growing up as a kid. So I think that fear probably drives my thirst for knowledge. But I could see how it would be oddly comforting knowing that maybe we're not the only civilization trying to make it, and that there are others trying to do their thing. And what does our lifetime see? Do we see confirmation of other life in our lifetime? Do our kids see that in their lifetime? There's so many angles we could take on this. Kind of blows your mind a little bit, My father's over there meditating. I think it's something we all knew, but never put much thought. Now we're made to think. Yeah. All right, that's what we've got. Today I am not doing the Noon and 4. Meteorologist Cam Tran is back. So I get to wear the polo, and I get to post on Facebook and Twitter, study computer models, do some corporate graphics work, and yeah. Listen, be the sunshine in someone else's day. I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday. I will see you back here at 3:30 live for our afternoon coffee talk. We'll review brand new model data. We'll look ahead the next couple of days, track any rains that are around, and hopefully just get your day continuing to roll on the right note. All right? Be good, everybody. See y'all at 3:30.